word. But that was not true. And thank God for programs like this. Thank God for Wentors. Like she said, I'm an alumni. I got to discover that no matter your career path, it is possible to transition into tech. You just have to be very curious. So either you're a student, you're a career switcher, you're a professional, you can actually add tech to whatever you're doing. And data analytics is a skill that you can actually, whatever you're doing, actually add data to it. And guess what? The myth that you need to be a mathematician or be so good with maths, that's not true. So we'll get to know more as we proceed today. So this is basically me, chemistry graduate, and self-taught, I would say, transitioning into tech because I don't have a degree in computer science. Okay, and what I mentioned, you just have to be curious, right? You have to be curious. And if I ask you this question, how many of you here studied computer science or studied even a tech subject or a science subject? Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Thank you so much. So if I ask that question for us to raise our hands, I'm very sure we have so many persons in the house that probably studied law, accounting, and I have seen women and even men who studied this different career transition into tech. So if you're one of us, you can also transition. So the three pillars I highlighted here, curiosity, you should know that whatever skill or whatever department, whatever you're doing right now, there are always transferable skills, right? And also learning. So you just have to have that mindset that you can learn. Sometimes some people say, "Oh, but I'm too old. I'm over 30. I'm 40." There is no age limit to learning. There's this saying that when you stop learning, that's when you start dying. So if you're 70 and you're still learning, you're still very young. But if you're 20 and you've stopped learning, then you're very old. So age is not a barrier in going into tech. That's something we should note. Here, I just try to highlight the myths and then the realities around data analytics, right? So let's debunk those myths. For instance, saying that you must be a math genius, that's a lie. So all you need is you need to be curious. Logic matters a lot more than the calculus and the calculation. Also, you must code complex scripts, learn Python and all that. That's also not true. You can use basic tools like Excel. I've seen friends who are just Microsoft Power BI gurus and they've gotten jobs and they're doing very well. In fact, they're in Nigeria and they're working for companies abroad and they're earning in dollars. So you must not learn to code or whatnot to be a data analyst. Also, only for STEM graduates. That's not true, right? I've seen lawyers who are doing well as data analysts. I've seen people who studied accounting and they're doing very well, business administration. So it's not for only STEM graduates. It's not for only CS graduates. All you need is to develop your business intuition. Very important. So this is my story, right? So if you're like me, that came from chemistry, this would resonate very well with you. But if you come from any other background, I just want you to imagine the skill you're bringing in so you can have a pen and a paper and get to write, okay, I studied accounting. What are those transferable skills I have that I can put into data? And one beautiful thing about data is whatever field you are, there's always data. Data is everywhere. So you're a teacher, there is data, right? You have student data you can analyze, you can help to make better decision. You're a medical doctor, there's data that we have so many health data, you can help make better decision. And the advantage for people coming from other fields is, for instance, if I'm a medical doctor and I want to become a data analyst, I will know better around the medical field because when you're analyzing the data, the terms used in the medical field, you're already used to it. So you become like the go-to data analyst whenever anyone wants to analyze anything around the health data. So you see it's an advantage. So there are always transferable skills. So sit down and try to think through it. What are those skills you have and how can you transfer them into the data analysis equivalent? And for the tools, I know you have several questions, but yes, for beginner-friendly tools, you can start with Excel. You can also learn SQL. You can learn Power BI, or we have Power BI or we have Tableau. So you either choose between both visualization tools. So these are basic for beginners. And when you begin to grow, you can now decide to say, okay, I want to maybe become a data engineer. I want to learn more, or I want to add Python to my skill or whatnot. And like I mentioned, as a data analyst, you can always pivot into other things. During the introduction, they talked about how I learned to become a data analyst, and now I'm doing programs, and I'm using my skills from data analytics to excel my program, because for data analytics, what you do is just basically making decisions based on data, getting insights, and also whatever field you decide to grow into, starting from being a data analyst would actually help you to excel. So it's important you take this seriously. So I'll just give you a strategic learning journey you can go through, right? One thing that's important is consistency. You need to be consistent. Rome was not built in a day, right? So 30 minutes daily beats 8 hours a month. So you cannot say, oh, today, Blessing have taught us to be consistent. And you stay 8 hours, 9 hours learning. And then after today, maybe till the next AMA, you won't even touch your data set. You won't open your laptop. Someone who will be doing 30 minutes every day would beat that person who just does once in a month and don't go back to practice. So consistency. The next is you need to work on real projects. I think a couple of questions were sent, and one particularly was talking about how when you're talking to recruiters, do you focus on the skill, or what do you get to focus on? You need to focus on creating solutions as a data analyst. The skill is good, learning the tools are very good, but how can you translate this into solution for my business? That's what anyone who's going to employ you is looking for. And that's why you need to work on real life projects. So let's say I'm a data analyst and I'm interested in education, for instance. Have you done projects that speak on how data can be used to improve student learning outcome? What have you found out? And are you also writing about these things? Because social media is very key, right? As someone who's learning or into tech, it's important you at least have a LinkedIn account. Start posting about your journey. Also build a portfolio. Have not just having certificates. Can you prove your skill? Okay, you went to this training. What projects do you have? Mentorship is key. I can't overemphasize that. And that's why we have Wentors here to hold you and guide you to ensure that you're connected to professionals, and also not just professionals, you're also connected to your peers, because you can learn together, hold each other accountable, and get better. The next we're going to look at is what really affects women and what affected me. So I like to use my story as an example. So let's talk about real talks. Women, we have a lot of issues that get to hold us back. Number one, I highlighted here is imposter syndrome. Because of my time, I would have just allowed someone to look at this and tell us what they see. I think I should do that. Who would like to say something? Just 1 minute. Or should I say 10 seconds? We don't have time. So yes, looking at this picture, what can you see? Just a lady, you can just raise up your hands and then unmute your mic. Yes, anyone? Looking at this lady, looking at the mirror, what can you see? Okay, so my screen is on slide mode. I might not see you if you're raising up your hand. You can just unmute your mic. Our host can help you with that. Or if it's in the chat. Okay, yes, go on.
Sorry, thank you. I was gonna say that she doesn't see like what she really looks like. So it's all of the negativity and like the despair rather than realities.
Okay. Hello,
Beautiful.
can I say something?
Yes, please go on.
Women are trying to see how to balance, of which you can't balance. You have a lot in your hands. You have children, you have a career, you have marriage, you have service, church services, activities, different activities growing you. You have yourself, your emotions, our monthly cycle, different things, health to take care of and all. So all those, it makes it quite a bit difficult for women to just step up as a man. You know, when you're a woman, you have to take care of you care more about the child than the man. It's not as if the man can't do, but you would not want to abdicate that duty to the man. The man may not know when the child is running temperature, may not know what food to give to the child. You are the one to think all that. You have to make meal plans. You have to make sure the child is okay and all that. Then think about yourself. Then think about career. Think about work. Think about learning, trainings, and all that. So it's quite a lot.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you so much, guys, for sharing. And you're all correct. Women, we face a lot. And looking at this picture, you can see a queen with a tiara on her head. But then looking at the mirror, she's looking at someone who is very tired, maybe even ugly, and don't even know what to do because you can see question marks everywhere. And that's what most of us face today. When you look at the mirror, you're like, you're not good enough. There's so many burdens. Like someone, the woman just mentioned, there's a child to take care of. There's thinking about getting married. There's thinking about work, church, then yourself. Most times, most women, we tend to put ourselves as the last. And that's what this image is saying. Imposter syndrome, it is real, right? Most women face this. I could say 99.9 women, according to research, face this. And you're not alone. That's one thing you should know. You're not alone. I also face it. But the truth is, what do you do with your imposter? That's something you should ask yourself. What do you do? So people who are successful, research has shown that they face their imposter despite all that is happening. They tend to look at yourself in the mirror, and when that imposter is coming and saying you're not good enough, you can't go into this field, they tell themselves, I am good enough. And that's where words of affirmation comes in. You have to tell yourself you're good enough. You have to surround yourself with women like yourself that see value in yourself, right? And that's where, like I said, Wentors come in. I know they would talk you through their mentorship program and how they would hold your hands to see that you can actually do this. There are women who have given birth, who have children, who have thriving marriage, who have thriving career, and they're doing very well in tech. So if those women can do this, I'm very sure you can also. Also, trying to balance life, we already talked about that. Juggling study, marriage, work, it can be a whole lot, but it's workable. So I want you to self-reflect. What's your biggest fear about switching into tech? You know that fear, right? What's your biggest fear? Mine was, I felt like I was not good enough. Like, you're coming from chemistry. Now you're always used to the lab and the rest. Now you want to be touching laptop. Are you sure you're good enough? Are you sure you get a job? And all those questions. But let me tell you, your doubts are real, but yet you're good enough and you would find your space in tech. You just need a supportive community, and you have that with Wentors. Okay, so let's talk about the anatomy of data analytics or a data analyst. All you need to have, it's not about the degree or what you studied, like I said before. You need to be someone who would, so if you don't know how to ask questions, this is the time to start learning. I would want you to note this down and start practicing. So all you need to have is learn to ask questions, enjoy cleaning messy data, try to find patterns, and also learn to tell stories. That's basically what you do as a data analyst, right? Now, data analytics is fundamentally about critical thinking, please note that, and not complex calculation. So don't think it's about solving math and the rest. That's not a requirement. And this is all we talked about. So this could be your 60 days transformation plan. You could have a screenshot of it. But most importantly for me is sharing in public, right? So whatever you're learning, it's important, because for me, that has been like a turning point. Sharing in public, the public gets to hold you accountable. So if you're someone, you just started studying, you agree with me that there are some things you started studying and halfway through it, you just drop out. And nobody knows because you didn't share it. But imagine today you go and write and say, today I'm starting my data analytics journey. You know that people are holding you accountable. You would want to be consistent. You don't want to go back in 2 months' time and you're seeing yourself and you're like, I posted, I wanted to start my data analytics journey. So it's good to build in public, and it also gives you visibility, and recruiters can always see through your journey and say, oh, this girl, she's learning data analytics. I need an intern. Do you want to intern with me? So it's good to build in public. And this would bring me to the end, right? So if you want to screenshot this, you can quickly do that. and I'll call on our host for our question and answer session. Thank you so much for having me on this session. Thank you.
Thank you, Blessing. Thank you so much. That was a rush, but yet it was impactful. I'm loving the fact that this was very much down to earth. It was also, close to our heart and majorly just, pinpointed on some of the issues that we women, especially because I'm seeing that there are lots of women who are transitioning and it resonates with them, especially when you see another woman who is transitioning. I have someone who is in the chat, Karina. Karina says she's 37 with 3 kids, and her greatest fear is feeling that she's late. So I guess before we even start asking any question, Blessing, can you help with that? How do you encourage Karina, who is feeling like she's late into transitioning into technology? Maybe that should be the first question before we start asking others.
Okay, thank you so much for that beautiful question. And thank you, Karina, for sharing. You're in a safe space. And like I mentioned before, it's never too late. I've seen people who transition into tech in their 50s, their 60s, and they're doing so well. And that's why community is very important, because in a community, you also get to see, I'm very sure if we allow like an open mic and other persons to share, there are other women who are here who have 3 kids, 4, 2, and who are doing very well. So there are other women who are doing it, right? All you have to do is join a community. If you're not a member of this community, please do well to join so that you can have someone who shares the same passion, who wants to start and who has already started rather, and you can also ask questions on how they're doing it and how are they doing it, like we discussed earlier. You just have to be able to start. Just start. The imposter syndrome is there. Even if you're 20, you're 10, it does not matter. Even if you're 50, just have that passion, be curious, have the passion of you want to learn, right? And then just start. Put yourself out there. Your story might just be what would even make someone else to change tomorrow. People are waiting to hear your manifestation. Let me use that word. So you just have to start. And when it gets overwhelming, I would still boil down to community. That's where community is very important. If you're a woman here and you're learning in silo, it is not advisable. You need a community because it's not easy. Sometimes you get overwhelming. I know, so let me get personal. Sometimes I have friends that I learned with, and I would just call them, and all I want to do is just someone to cry to. This is me being serious with you, because sometimes it get overwhelming. You have work, you have to cook, you have to, and it's like, God. And then when I'm done ranting, you'll be like, okay, we hear you. We also pass through the same thing. So take a breather. Are you okay? Do you have more things you want to pour? And I will talk and talk and talk. And when I'm done and I feel better, they'll tell me, you've got this. Just do this. Just do this. And today, look at me. I'm here talking to you. It feels like I'm all good. No, I don't get it all. I still cry, right? So please do well to start. Do well to start. You're not alone. And I can't wait to hear your story someday. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Blessing. I love it. We all cry. I think the emotional side of every woman is the tears that we tend to cry here and there, which it does go a long way. Blessing, if you don't mind, could you put off you're still sharing your screen so we could go back to, okay. Maybe you stop sharing.
Okay, I'll do that now.
Yeah. All right. So we do have a few questions that we wanted to, Karina says, thank you so much, Blessing. Absolutely. We do have a few questions. I'm going to take one question from Alexandra, and then we'll take 1 or 2 more questions because we're running out of time before we go into our breakout rooms. So Alexandra said, what certifications or projects helped you land your first tech job?
Okay, thank you so much for that. I think I'll go back to my story a bit. So I did, I think I did a course. The first course I did ever was on Coursera. I did a Coursera data analytics course. And then I saw online Wentors, they called, I think then they had this scholarship with Data Camp, not very sure now. Yes, Data Camp for like a year. And so I was one of the girls that were selected, young women that were selected, and that really helped. So I used Data Camp, I learned, built project, and then I met sisters, and that's why I say community is very key. We had a Slack channel, or we have a Slack channel where we communicate together, we shared insight. In fact, we went as far as exchanging number. We became friends on WhatsApp. We always share updates. And for me, getting my first tech job, I think it all connected the dots to LinkedIn. I'm very big on LinkedIn. So if you're not on LinkedIn, this is a call to go and open a LinkedIn account. Also, you can search up Blessing-Iyare and get to connect with me. So I'm very big on LinkedIn, and I always write about what I'm learning. And then someone in the US, he reached out to me and said, oh, he has like an edtech company in Nigeria, and he needs someone like me with data analytics to work with him. And that's how I got my first role as a data analyst. So yes, thank you.
Fantastic. I hope that answers your question. Great. Thank you so much, Alexandra. Love that you're always, connected with us. All right. So I'm going to ask one question. And this is a question that we got from the community, the questions that came in. And the person said, what mistakes do analyst candidates commonly make during technical interviews? And how do I prepare to stand out confidently in job assessments conversations?
Okay, thank you so much for that question. I think one mistake data analysts make is that they focus more on the tools, right? Like I mentioned before, you're just focused on, oh, I know Excel, I know VLOOKUP, I know this, I know all those principles and the rest. You're not focused on how can you solve problem, because that's what recruiters want. And data analysts, you're a problem solver. So for instance, let's say I am eyeing to work as a data analyst with Wentors. Let's use Wentors, for instance. Now you know what they do. You as a data analyst, you make your research and then look for ways, if possible. Maybe you've worked on a project that's an ed tech school, how they were able to improve their student outcome and the rest. You've done that. Now, when you go for such interview, you should focus on those kind of projects and help them see how having you among the team would help them improve their outcome. In fact, if you've even done a research about the company and you find out anything that you feel like needs to be improved, you can highlight it and say, oh, this is a suggestion because I went to your website, I saw this, I saw that, I analyzed this data, and I think that this could help. And that shows that as a data analyst, you're a problem solver and not just someone who is a guru with all the tools, because nobody really cares about what you know, but what you're going to do to help their business get better. That's what recruiters are looking for. And if you're that person, certainly you will be brought into the team.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Blessing. That's about how much time we have. We have a lot of questions, and I really wish we had time to take on these questions because they're okay. So you know what? Let's do that sacrifice. One more question. Just because I really love how this came, and it was from Alexandra. She said, can you share a key turning point or a project that solidified your career in tech?
Okay, thank you so much. This is a very tough one. A key turning point or a project that solidified my career in tech. Would I have one project that did that? I would say my passion for education actually was it for me. I'm passionate about education, and that's why I talked about whatever you're doing right now, you don't throw it away when you go into tech. That's something. So if, for instance, you're passionate about health, right? When you become a data analyst, it does not mean that, oh, everything about health wipes out. You can have your focus, have a niche that, oh, I'm a data analyst and my focal point is going to be around analyzing health data and being the best data analyst in that particular space. I feel for me, knowing that fact and staying grounded in like the educational field and using the data and programs to ensure that I am one of the best, for me is a turning point. I feel like probably if I had decided to want to go into financial data or health data, I would have been like a fish outside the river, right? It would have been very difficult. So I want you to as you're here today, know the field that you're already in, and then think of how to use data to ensure that you're the best in that field. Yeah, that will give you an edge.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Blessing. We're so honored to have you as an alumni and someone who had, walked through the corridors of Wentors, as well as just being part of the Data Camp project or program and seeing how it was beneficial to your journey. We're really excited that we were part of that and we're able to help you in your journey and just seeing you progress and being successful. Thank you so much for being part of today's session. We're really honored. I will connect with you after, the session has closed. But again, thank you. Can we just share a quick thank you to Blessing? Just, a message here in the chat to let her know that we appreciate her. And, we hope that we're going to have her in our next session, maybe in February, who knows, maybe in March. But yeah, thank you. We're seeing a lot of love emojis. We love you, Blessing, the entire Wentors community. We love you so much. Thank you for being a huge blessing to us today.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. All right. So we're going to go into our breakout room. The breakout room would consist of women, just like we did last week. So if you're interested in, or if you are the woman who is in the Discover Her type of role, which when we say Discover Her, we mean if you're the woman who is a stay-at-home mom, you're transitioning into technology, you're a beginner, you are, what's the word? You're a tech graduate, undergraduate, trying to find a place in technology. This is where you need to be, which is the Discover Her room. But if you are the one who is, I would say pretty much the woman who is the Launch Her woman, and you're the woman who is about 1 to 3 years of experience is in your backpack. You have a desire to be in technology, or you have studied a little bit, of tech here and there. You have some level of skills. So we would say you're in the intermediate level. Then you are the woman who is in the Launch Her group. Now that group is where you would find me as your leader. Anita has helped in creating the breakout rooms. So you can go ahead and join Anita's room, which is for the Discover Her women, and then you can join the Launch Her room, which is for it's me who would take up that room. So again, we want to show you a few more offerings. We're going to be doing this up until February, the entire month of January, the entire month of February. We want to show you some of the offerings that you will miss out if you do not plug into either of our Discover Her and Launch Her programs. So please go ahead and lock yourselves into that room. Just indicate by moving yourself into that room. Anita, can you unmute yourself so that we can hear you and we can see you and we don't end up in a different room? Now, again, just to reiterate, I'm working in the Launch Her Women room while Anita would handle the Discover Her Women. So again, just to understand, we're trying to make sure that we can unearth all of the offerings in the Discover Her and Launch Her, identify it to you, make you highlight it to you actually, and make you understand, what you would get if you are part of the program. Remember that the program is going to we're going to launch those programs in March to celebrate International Women's Day. And because as a community member, every community member goes on with a 10% discount for each of the programs. But again, we want to show you what those offerings are, just so you don't miss out. So it's really important that you're showing up every Friday to understand what we're offering you. So if you do have any questions, let me know. Again, Launch Her women are the women who are in the intermediate level, the 0 to 3 years of experience in technology, while the Discover Her women are women who are undergraduates, beginners in technology, zero knowledge, zero idea. They want to transition into technology. Anita will handle that room. Anita, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you, Dora. Can everybody hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. So if you are in Discover Her, you could just simply put Discover Her on the chat, and then I will move you to that room. Or if you're in the launch her, you can just simply put launch her in the chat and I will move you to that room. So let's just all do this as quick as possible. I see Karina said discover her. So I'll be moving Karina to discover her.
All right. So I
But
myself,
if
I
you've
will be
gotten the
moving
prompt,
to. Okay. So just wanted to add, I myself, I'll be going to the launcher room just in case no one sees me again, so we could go ahead and quickly start.
okay, bye, Dora.
Bye.
All right, please put it in the chat box. I'm currently looking at it, and I will move you to your desired room. Remember that Discover Her is for women with 0 to 2 years, 0 to 3 years, and Launch Her for people that have had previous experience that would also like to explore. Temitayo says Discover Her, so I'll be moving you to Discover Her. To Discover Her. Who else? Joshua says Discover Her. Who else? Happiness, I'll be moving you to Discover Her. Rejoice, what about you? Olamide said Discover Her. Okay. So I'm moving you there. Who else? Okay, we have Nee, we have Jackie, we have Lisha Bumwick, we have Rejoice. Please let me know where you'll be joining. Please let me know where you'll be joining. Jackie, what about you? Discover Her or Launch Her? Can everybody hear me? Hello?
Hi.
Hi, so which room? Do you want to go to the Discover Her room for 0 to 2, 3 years? Or do you want to go to the Launch Her room? Hello, I can't hear you. All right, so I'm just going to leave it to Sandra and Dennis to help guide everyone into the rooms while I go launch for Discover Her. See me anymore, I'm in the Discover Her room. Bye, everyone. Hello. Is everyone here?
Yes, I am here.
All right. We've had quite a session. How was your session, Dee?
I wish we had more time, but I know that we're bumped on time. However, I'm hoping that we have questions from the community. I was hoping that we'd have a lot of time, to cover that regardless. Let's go in and have those questions before we close out for today.
I think I only had one question from Favor. Favor asked, during the program, do you have someone who would be explaining when we get stuck, or we just take the data camp course, correct? So I will just, go over that again for everybody in case, some people still have those kind of questions in mind. You would have your when you take your live technical classes, right? You do have your trainers to ask questions. And for example, if you're part of the data camp as well, you have your community to ask questions. But data camp is very self-explanatory. There are videos, there are code alongs. It's a great place to be in if you want to be in the data sector. So in case anybody's asking such questions, but they don't want to come out and say it, I hope that helps.
Right. And so for women in the launcher, I failed to mention this to you. As part of what we do at Wentors, we are partners with an organization called Data Camp. If you're a part of the AMA, you would notice that Blessing, our speaker, had mentioned that she was an alumni from the Data Camp program, and this helped her with getting a lot of certifications. And so you just being part of enrolling for the launcher program gives you a direct access into the data camp, program. As much as you would have the live technical sessions, we also ensure that it's compulsory that you're part of the data camp program, which enables you to have access to tons of certifications. And again, you're not alone. Please understand that you will never be alone, when you are in this program. We have our program coordinator who follows you back to back to make sure that you take up your sessions and that you're also, taking up exams for those certificates, because it's part of who we are. We want to take you to the next level. And so it's essential that it's essential that you're taking your course serious for us. I'm seeing a question. Karina says, how can we join? I just mentioned again, as if you're able to sign up for the launcher program, or you're able to sign up for the Discover Her program, you get a direct access into the data camp program. Rejoice says, I want to ask, how many months is the data analysis program? So if you are in either the Discover Her or the Launcher, is 6 weeks. It begins in March and ends in April. 6 weeks back to back. We would follow up with you. We need to make sure that you're successful. You would have a capstone project once you're done, and again, it's something that it's live sessions with your trainer. Please, just so you understand, we don't just bring any trainer. We bring someone who has 8+ years of experience. As of last year, we got someone who was a lecturer in one of the schools here in Nigeria. And then we had another person who has 8+ years, is currently working in a bank. So we don't just bring anyone that would come and train you. And this also applies to the mentors that we bring. We can bring someone who even, who is working in the Fortune 500 company. That's how much quality that we bring, because again, we are a social enterprise. We want to make sure that every woman has a place in technology. If you have been following us for over 5 years now, our main goal is to ensure that by 2030, 8 million women are in technology. And so this is our way of making sure that women are capable of having that opportunity and having a place. Understand that technology itself is what runs the world. It's no longer men runs the world, women. Technology runs the world. And you need to have a place. You need to take up your spot before it disappears. I'm having another question by Nancy. Does the subscription payment expire after a while? Subscription payment. I'm not sure I understand. Nancy, if you're here, is it possible that you can unmute yourself and maybe explain what you mean by that? Hello? Hello? Nancy?
If Nancy is here, what I'm thinking she's trying to say is, if you remember, we have a 60 minutes bonus pack, which says, if you get to the next 60 minutes, she's asking, does the subscription payment apply to that as well?
The mentorship fee. Okay, so the mentorship, so be careful not to say mentorship fee. It's not just mentorship that we're offering. It's not just, it's a bunch of offerings where mentorship is part of it. However, if you're saying it would expire after a while, so there are two phases to this. We have the part payment, that is if you're going for, but if you're part of the community, there is a 10% discount that is going on. 10% discount just being part of our community. We need to identify with you as being part of that community. As of last week, we had a 15% discount, but today we're not going to do that. We may have it next week, but today we're not going to do that. And you're going to be asking, oh, why not? It's costing us a lot of money. Please believe me, a lot of money just to even offer it at 10% discount. When we were sharing the stack of the values with you, you would tell that if it's outside, if you're trying to get this outside, just one thing alone can cost the entire program. But because we're a social enterprise, I want to reemphasize this. Because we're a social enterprise, our goal is to make sure that you are able to take this at the barest minimum, but then while still getting value for your money. So yes, I hope that answers your question. I do have another question from Rejoice. Thanks for the explanation. After the launcher program with data analysis, what's next for me with Wentors? Like we mentioned, there is a criteria for you to be part of our internship program. Let me just go over that again. The guaranteed micro internship. Like I mentioned to the women in the launcher program, our goal with the micro internship is to give you, should I say, a launch pad for someone who hasn't had any experience. It gives you, a different look amongst other people to say, I have been part of an internship opportunity for this much time, and this is what I was able to get out of it. It gives you a different identity that makes it easier for you to get a place, not just in the interview room, but also with, having a placement in your organization. So Wentors wants to guarantee women with a micro internship program that would last for two months. And so this is something that you will get, but it has criteria. You need to ensure that before you could, before you're able to have a place in it, these are some of the criteria. This is just for launcher women. Discover Her women, they have an entirely different one, but you need to follow through and make sure. And again, we're people who would follow you because we want to make sure that you're successful. So this is something that we offer. And I hope that answers your question, Rejoice. I have another question from Nkechi. Nkechi says, please, can you explain what and what covered the 80,000 naira? So for Discover Her, I'm going to leave that to Anita to go over that again. Anita, if you want to share your screen, then that's fine.
Hello, can
Anita,
everybody hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. And I'm seeing a man here. That's great to see. Hi, Mark. Thanks for joining in. We're going to be rounding up soon, so I think that will be the last question. Anita, please go ahead and share what is covered with the 80,000 naira.
Hi,
Give me a
thank
minute.
you.
Hi, Mark. Thanks for joining us. Good to have you.
Yeah, just
So
sitting
can
around learning.
everybody see my screen?
Anita, it's Alexandra. Thank you so much for joining in. We're always so excited for the support that you give us. Anita,
Can everybody
we can see
my
screen. Bye, Alexandra.
All right.
Yes,
So,
Anita, we can.
What you get for 80,000 naira is at least 4 weeks of mentorship. And if that's going to go individually, it's going to cost at least 71,145 naira per session. And we're also giving you interview prep classes from a co-founder or from of a mission-driven recruitment company based in the UK. And that will be costing you at least 100,000 naira. We're also giving you access to technical course and live trainings with experts. That's what will be happening for the next 6 weeks. And if you were to pay for that individually, it's going to go for 113,000 naira. And last but not the least, you have access, if you pass the criteria, to our internship directory and 2 months of micro internship. So I did go over what the internship directory will look like and how you can use that to get access to worldwide opportunities, internship opportunities, shadowing opportunities in tech, top fortune tech companies. So if you were to have that, if you were to pay for that, it will cost you at least $140, which is roughly 200,000 naira in
Right.
Nigerian. So yeah,
Thank you
that is
so
what
much,
you'll be getting
Anita.
for the 80,000.
Yeah, thank you so much, Anita. Here's the thing. Anita just covered 4 offerings, but if you go to our website, you see the other. There are more than 4 offerings that we're covering, that we're sharing with you. We just wanted to highlight 4, but if you go to our website, you would see the other offerings. And we have one last question from Rejoice. Anita, this is for you. She says, how long can I stay in the data camp? Anita, okay, go ahead. Yeah.
So that will be a year. You have a year-long access to data camp if you do register for any of these cohorts, a year.
Right. Rejoice, I hope that answers your question. 1 full year of being part of the data camp program. So yeah, I hope that answers the question. You have, for the launcher women, again, you have about 2 hours to enroll. And as much as you're able to do that, the gift for you is you have access to the negotiation training by Jennifer Cox, where you can go ahead and learn how to negotiate. That is, if you're already in the field, and if you're not already, working, this is a one-time offer. For the next 2 hours, you can gain access to that. Also ensure that you're part of our community, because you're able to get 10% discount on either Discover Her or Launch Her program. And so that wraps it up